Okay, so we're here again with my mom, Peg Bradley. She is going to talk this week about her mom and dad. So, Mom, the question this week is what about you was like your mother, and what about you was like your father?
Well, I have to say, my father was very quiet. He wasn't educated. He was only 5 years old. His parents both died in the flu epidemic. And then I think it was a case where he had two brothers older than him, but I guess they were trying to take care of him. And I just think you know, he was by himself probably. And then I think there wasn't that, he was a great dancer, cancer man, and a really good dancer. And the the one job he had, my mother said, Mr. McCarran, he loved my father. My father, I think whatever he did, he was a hard worker. If they could just keep him there. So I think that's my father. My mother was a hard worker. She'll do anything to take care of her family. You know, she wasn't educated either. She only went to, I think, maybe fifth grade, I think. She was only 11 when her mother died after childbirth. She was only 31. So they had a farm in St. Quarry. They had a business in Ireland, but my mother was the one who took care of the other kids because she was the oldest. And there was six, I think it's seven, um, maybe three boys, three girls, and her. But I think what happened then, her Uncle John was in the First World War in the United States. And I think she wanted to move on, and that would be me. Like, I can't.
So you're like her in that respect.
I said, yeah, she would take care, but my father needs to.
She wasn't afraid.
No.
She might have been afraid, but she did it anyway.
What she was going to do was, then I guess they talked about the United States. The streets are paved with gold. Everybody's rich. So I think this is what she heard as a kid, which I'm sure this is they exaggerate everything. And I think, oh gee, I would like to go there. So she wrote her Uncle John, her mother's brother, and asked him if he could sponsor her out. I guess, I don't know how they did it then, but that's what you had to do to get to the United States at that point. And apparently, he probably felt sorry for her because she had to take so much responsibility. And I think he said she needs a break. And he brought her to the United States, and he also brought his mother's other sister. Her name was Agnes, and she came over with my mother. And my mother would, my mother, as soon as she could, she applied for citizenship to the United States. She loved being an American. She always said it. You must vote. She would, a lot of little things she taught me is what I carried on to my own children. You must vote. You must work. You must be honest. A lot of things that we were all raised. I raised all my children Catholic, and my mother raised all of us Catholic. So it's in our genes. But
was your father Catholic?
My father was Catholic because my mother probably says you're Catholic. My mother was the boss, and of course I'm not bossy like that. But everything I learned from her.
So it's about so you're like her because you took a chance and came out to Chester County when nobody else did, and it was a prairie.
I came out to Chester County, and we lived in the city, and then we were in South Philly, and then my father was in an accident. He lost his kneecap, and he got a settlement so my mother had the money to move out to Southwest Philly to step up. So and it was a much bigger house, and
that was 2003 South
2003 South 58th Street in West. I think it's probably considered Southwest, but we were there, and that's where my sister Roseanne. She's the youngest. And then she went to St. Most Blessed Sacrament School in 8th grade. Then she went to where'd she go? West Catholic. And she went there to school. And then my mother was always education. Like, I'm going to graduate, she'd say, You should be talking about graduating from college. You know, high school's not going to take you anywhere. You're going to have a college degree.
So was she in Southwest Philadelphia before you were there?
Yes.
So you followed her.
I followed my mother because when she moved to Southwest Philly, I wasn't going to stay in South Philly without my mother. So, of course, my mother, in fact, I didn't have the money. But my mother, she got a mortgage for me. I don't know where she got the money because there's no charge cards like
Do
there
you,
are
do you
now.
remember how much the house was?
My house, I don't know. I think
That
it
was the 5940 Springfield Avenue.
5940 Springfield Avenue. I think it might have been, I don't know, maybe 20,000. I know hers was 20,000. I was thinking the same ballpark.
20,000 or 2,000?
I don't know.
Because you're talking about 1960, 19...
You were born there. 50. You were born
55.
You were born in 55. So that's when I moved to Springfield Avenue. Because you had your third birthday there. So you had to be.
Oh, so 1958.
Yeah.
So it was probably more like 2,000.
Yeah. But my sister Mary and I and her husband, they went partners with me because we thought it was a real big house, but you know, today's standards it was not. But what we did was we moved together, and my sister Mary was immaculately clean. She kept the place really nice. Just I had a mind, you know, they were my kids, so I had to take care of them. But it was nice. It was really my sister was very, very good to me, and I think she felt like. Well, my mother used to say, you love your Aunt Mary, you love your sister Mary than you do me. But I think because she probably I'm 10 years younger, so she was probably the one that took care of me. Mm-hmm. So, you know, anything, like I took care of, when she passed away, everything was in my name. And I had taken care of her, you know, everything to her funeral and everything. Mm-hmm. But my brother Larry was only 34. And he died. He was 34 when he died. He had cancer, colon cancer, and so he died first, and then Mary was 52 when she died. She was a couple years older than Larry.
But just let's go back to like Grandma moved to 58th Street, and we're talking about how you're like her. So you followed her out to 58th Street, and then I seem to remember that Aunt Rainey moved to Collingdale, and that was like a big deal.
My sister Rainey, she was 5. I'm 5 years older than her, and she had her husband Joe Carlin. They moved out to Collingdale. My mother thought, "Why do you need to go so far?" Now, today, you know how that's not.
And it was like a big deal. Like
it was
really
a big
didn't
deal.
want her moving that far.
Oh, she's moving out the suburbs. Who does she think she is? So you know that's what we were. But my mother would take the shirt off your back and give it to you. She loved all the kids. She used to give my kids lunch because they were around the corner from MBS. Peggy, well, all the kids really. And like I had 7.
So you would do that for your kids too, because we're talking about how she's like you.
Yeah.
Or I mean, how you are like her, or how you're like your father. So what parts? Because you like to dance, so that was both your mother and father both like to dance.
My father actually taught me how to dance. We had a living room, you know, with the floor was linoleum, I guess. And my father taught me how to dance in there. And I don't know how he got into that, but to me, I just wanted to dance. I went to the St. Gabe's dance, you know, twice.
So your mom and dad, I guess they danced together. Did your mom meet him at the dance?
I think. I think it's a military secret because my mother would only tell you certain things, and then you had to fill in the blanks because that's how she was. And but she was very good person. She had a lot of good character.
Well, you are too. Like you look out for your kids. You look out for your
my mother looked,
family,
and like she loved my kids. In fact, my other the cousins used to get jealous because my kids were always at grandma's for lunch every day, but I was with my mother the most because I'm the only one that drove. Mm-hmm. So, my mother would rent me out like Uber. Mm-hmm. Oh, my Peggy.
Well, what would make her mad?
Fresh. No, can't be fresh. That would make her mad. She'd slap you on the ass for that because you couldn't be fresh. Had to go to mass. Had to go to church. Very important. You can't not go to mass. Very important.
She get mad if you didn't come visit her.
Oh yeah, my mother had dinner, I would say, as long as I can remember, every Sunday. And everything, my mother never came to my house for any kind of a meal or to visit. I was always there. I had to take the kids there. And I never had too many kids. And if my girlfriend, Trudy, would come with her, she would come visit. And I would go to my mother's, she said, well, you can't do that. I said, well, no, my mother don't care. And I didn't even have to call my mother to say, there's going to be, Trudy's going to come with the kids, little kids. And my mother, it was like, so what's the problem? We'll put another vegetable on. We'll slice the meat thinner. And
I remember her next door neighbor, Jewel, had a meat slicer.
The lady next door had a like a meat cutter, like you see.
In the store, right?
Yeah. And she would make the meat thin. My mother always had roast beef. And she sliced it down. It was delicious. My mother made the best gravy because she worked for the DuPont.
You make good gravy. So
I make very good gravy and good stuffing, and I think that's what I do. The rest is my girlfriend's her mother-in-law, Laura, Trudy's mother-in-law. She was a wonderful woman because I had the 3 girls then, and Trudy would call, and she said, well, we're going to go over to Laura's for dinner. And I would say, well, she said, Peggy, she don't mind your kids. She And I used to tell her I didn't know. I said, oh, God, your spaghettis are so good. And I don't know how she said, I said, my mother never made that. So she used to try to teach me how to start it. And I make pretty good sauce, but that's where I learned it.
So are you a better cook than your mother?
I think, yes. I would think. But my mother her mother wasn't there.
Yeah,
so
nobody to teach her.
My mother, it was her imagination, Meat, potatoes, a good vegetable. And
always potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. Always mashed potatoes. And then we always had Jell-O with bananas for dessert. I didn't know there was other things you could have. Except for, we had a bakery right up the street, Ripple's Bakery. It was fabulous. They had the best lemon buns I ever had in my life. But she would, only on Saturday, we would get stuff from the baker. And I think Wednesday once in a while, or if there was a holiday or something. But it was delicious. I mean, and I just think...
So you didn't have dessert every night?
Oh, no.
And you didn't have, like, soda and...
No, sodas, that's a no-no. But my mother grew and she didn't realize that she was getting us ready for life, because you know how bad soda is for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a real treat. And I did the same thing. My kids, I used to hide this. In fact, one time, I never forgot it because it broke my heart, because I thought... I had gotten bananas, and I put them up in a cabinet because I said, well, we'll have that at the end of the week. I forgot. The bananas were there, and they went bad. And I took and I cried because I'm thinking, I could have given them to the kids, but I didn't, because I didn't think of it, because I was going to save them to put in the Jell-O like my mother. But that was one of the experiences that I always regretted, that I did that. But they didn't have a lot of junk. Like soda that was just treat. That was once in a blue moon. And we used to have a water ice
pound cake. I remember pound cake.
Oh, we had pound cake. My mother could make pound cake. She wasn't a baker, but she used to make Irish scone, a lot of raisins. That was dessert, and she'd make a pound cake now and then because that pound cake was easy. Mm-hmm. And then as I got older, you could buy a pound cake. So I didn't bake a pound cake. I bought my dessert. I bought a pound cake. But I'm saying, that was my life. I was married very young, 18, and I think I had I would be upset when I was pregnant all the time. And my husband, he didn't really worry about how many children he had, but I did. But when I would be pregnant, I would tell my mother. She was the first one I'd tell. You know what she'd say? Oh, Peggy, children are wonderful. We'll be fine. She always said, we'll be fine. She didn't say, you'll be fine. It was always, she always included herself, like, whatever you need, I'm here. I'm here for you. that's such a blessing.
Well, you're the same way. You never, we don't have that many kids in our family, but you never said, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing having all these kids?"
No, my mother never said that.
All the kids
She
are
always,
welcome.
when I would cry about it, she would say, "You're blessed." Don't She said, "Your girls are going to take care of you." I'm telling you, Peggy, because I always had all girls, and I really didn't complain about having the girls. And my mother would always say, "Oh, Peggy, they're going to take care of you when you get old," and they're taking care. So you never know it. You never know what your mother's going to tell you.
She was so.
But I think my mother she was very witty. She was born in Ireland. She had that Irish wit, and she loved my kids, your kids, anybody's kids.
Well, she was good with people. You're good with people. I mean,
Yeah,
all of you have, like all of your family, your sisters and your brother are good people, good with people.
Yeah, and
it's a natural Irish thing, I guess.
and she would say, what was I going to say? What did she? Oh, but anyway, with the kids, it wasn't. She didn't mind if you were, and she would say, after we'd have dinner on Sunday, she would say, and we had to have dessert after the dishes were all done. No dishwasher. They were done by hand. They had to. You can't leave them sitting in the thing. You had to dry them. And after that, then we'd have our dessert and tea. We always had a pot of tea.
Mashed potatoes and tea. You always had to have those.
Always had. This is the menu.
Well, and getting to how you were like her. Like our house always had a lot of the neighbor kids in the house.
All the time.
In fact, Kathy Mooney is a big star of our.
Yeah, we all have one of my daughter's girlfriends. In fact, her and Maria are the same age. One time I said to her, she made something, and I was at her house for dinner. I said, "Kat, that was really good. Who taught you how to cook?" And she said, "You did." And I looked at her like, "What?" She said, "Well, my mother was always cleaning. They weren't allowed in the house." She said, "So I never did see her cook."
But you used to put all the kids out except her.
Yeah, and even Billy, my kid's father, because my house was a bunch of kids, and I had it when like the first stereo. We used to dance in the living in the dining room, but the kids all like to come to my house. But I have learned through the years that other kids want to be where other kids are, and I let them come in to a certain degree, and then I would say, "That's it, out." But I'd say, "Kat, go." I had a back stairs. I'd say, "Go up and hide upstairs." She could stay. The rest got to go. But when my mother she had enough of kids, she'd say to me, "Peggy, the kids are really getting tired. You better take them home." My mother never said, "Get out with the kids." She'd say to me, "Peggy, they're getting tired now. You better take them home." But that was her way of saying out. She was very kind.
And she took care of everybody's kids, not
She
just us.
She never, when she was a young girl.
Betty's kids.
Tommy. She pretty much raised Tommy. But my mother, when she was a young girl, her sister-in-law's cousin or something had a baby, and she was trying to nurse, and she had her milk. She dried up. But my mother was nursing one of us. Wasn't me. I think it was Betty, because she lost her milk pretty young with me. But she had this. I forget the woman's name, but she would nurse her baby after she nursed her baby, because she had a lot of milk. Mm-hmm. And you didn't have formula. Didn't have you did with what you had. But that's what she did. And it just amazed me. I was thinking, well, how can you nurse two babies? But you can.
But you did what you had to.
You can do what you have to. And these young women, then that's what everybody nursed. Now, everybody nursed. Then when I was having that, now you feed them this formula.
But getting back to like how you're like grandma, like you've always done what you've had to.
Absolutely.
You've never said that's too hard.
My mother would say to me, if I say I can't, she'd say to me, "Peggy, can't means you won't. Don't say that. You can. You can do anything you want to, but don't say I can't. Can't means you won't." And I think it's a great phrase to have, because you have somebody, take it, we'll try. So if it don't work out,
you've mentioned it a few times.
Yeah. You'll get another job, But I'm saying, I always enjoyed working. I always enjoyed making money. And when I started to waitress, because I wanted to be a sales girl, and she said, well, they had, somebody in the counter. She said, well, there's a job on the counter. I said, I don't want to work the counter. I don't want to be a waitress. And the woman it was in 5 and 10 in Philly, and she said to me, "Well, that's all we have." I said, "I'll take it. What are you going to do? You'll make some money." But that's how far back it goes. And I think I've instilled the same things into my kids. You guys are smart. You can do anything. You're educated, and they really can. But sometimes they don't want to, and but
that's unacceptable.
Yeah. Well, but anyway, but they always took care of themselves. They always were ready to make a buck. They knew you have to work, and I think they all try to be honest. And well, they have their faults like all of us. Well, not me, but them. But I have to say, I was gifted. I know that. My mother had told me how lucky.
Okay.
Is that it?
So I think we're gonna. I think we can end it there for the video, at least part of it. But we will see you next time.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm here as far as I know.